Hello everyone, my name is Sponsa Sukla. I welcome you all in my YouTube channel Let's Rock. Here I am with the seventh part of this running video series. In this part, I will solve questions of mineralogy and petrology from BSU PAT 2020 question paper. This video will not only helpful for those who are going to appear in BHU entrance exam or other central university exam, but also for every geology student. So let's start. First question says, which of the following mineral shows fibrous habit? So, first of all, what is habit? Habit is the characteristic appearance of a mineral due to crystal form or combinations of form in hand specimen. Okay, now fibrous habit means it is used to describe crystal aggregate that is appearing to be composed of fibers. Now, let's check the habit of following minerals. First one is kyanite. Kyanite shows bladed habit. Diopside shows prismatic habit. And Andalusite shows prismatic habit. And Andalusite and sillimanite are Al2SiO5 polymorph, while Andalusite shows prismatic habit, while sillimanite shows fibrous habit. And because of this fibrous habit, it is also known as fibrolyte. Fibrolyte means masses of fine fibrous crystals. So, our question was asking about fibrous habit, so the correct answer is sillimanite. Next question says, the maximum number of plane of symmetry found in known crystal system is. So, what is plane of symmetry? A solid is said to be geometrically symmetrical with respect to a plane of symmetry when for each face edge or solid angle there is another face edge or solid angle which has like position with reference to this plane. Okay, a crystal may have as many as 9 plane of symmetry, and the best example of crystal that shows 9 plane of symmetry is cube, and it crystallizes in cubic system. Okay, or you can say cube is a form of cubic system. So first option is 11. 11, there is no plane of symmetry, that number is 11, that is totally absent, because a crystal may show as many as 9 plane of symmetry. So maximum number of plane of symmetry is 9, and it is shown by crystals of isometric system. Okay, 6 plane of symmetry is shown by tetrahedrite type of cubic system, and 5 plane of symmetry is shown by normal class of tetragonal system. Okay, so as far as the maximum number of plane of symmetry is concerned, maximum number is 9, and it is shown by crystals of isometric crystal system. Next question says, pleochroism in thin section of mineral is caused by. So what is pleochroism? Some minerals absorb different wavelength of light depending upon light vibration direction on stage rotation. This absorption of different wavelength of light results in change in color of mineral, and this phenomenon is known as pleochroism. So basically, pleochroism is nothing but change in color of mineral on the stage rotation under plane polarized light. Okay, and it is caused by absorption of different wavelengths of light in different direction. So as far as the pleochroism is concerned, it is caused by absorption of different wavelengths of light in different direction. Now let's check other option also. First one is diffraction. Diffraction is responsible for the play of color in mineral. Okay, like opalescence in opal and labradorescence in labradorite. Okay, so diffraction is responsible for play of colors, and the presence of more than one chromophore. So chromophore are those elements which are effective in absorbing visible light and produce mineral colors in hand specimen, and these are known as chromophore elements, like say iron, chromium, titanium, vanadium. These are all chromophores which are responsible for color of many minerals. Okay, so the presence of chromophore is responsible for color of mineral in hand specimen. Okay, now absorption of different wavelengths of light in different direction. This we have discussed that this is the reason for pleochroism, and dispersion is also responsible for color of many gem minerals in hand specimen. Okay, next question says, which mechanism actually does operate during Bowman's continuous reaction series? Okay, so Bowman reaction series shows the order in which mineral crystallizes from cooling magma, and it composed of two series, discontinuous series and continuous series. So this question is basically asking about continuous reaction series, in which plagioclase is continually present during crystallization. Okay, and in continuous reaction series you get anorthite, then bitopenite, labradorite, andesine, oligoclase and elbite, all these are plegioclase. Only the difference is in their composition. Like say anorthite is CaAl2Si2O8 while elbite is NaAlSi3O8. Okay, so there is continuous displacement of calcium and aluminum into sodium and silicon, okay, during continuous reaction series. So basically in continuation series there is elemental substitution, and elemental substitution in what? Elemental substitution in plegioclase feldspar, because in continuous reaction series plegioclase feldspar is present throughout. Okay, now other options are reaction between Mindel and melt, continuous fractionation and modification of silicate structure. These all are characteristic of discontinuous series. Like say in discontinuous series, first mineral that crystallizes is olivine, okay, and olivine belongs to neosilicate. Then orthopyroxene, clinopyroxene, these both belongs to single chain silicate. Then amphibole belongs to double chain silicate. And then biotite belongs to phyllosilicate. So there is modification of silicate structure in discontinuous series. Okay, and continuous fractionation means as the temperature falls, like say olivine may disappear because it reacts with the remaining melt to produce pyroxene. Okay, and with continued falling temperature pyroxene become unstable and react with the melt to produce amphibole and then mica similarly. Okay, so this is the continuous fractionation. And also reaction between mineral and melt. Reaction between mineral and melt produces different type of minerals, like reaction between olivine and melt produces orthopyroxene, or say pyroxene. Then reaction between pyroxene and melt produces amphibole, and then reaction between amphibole and melt produces biotite. Okay, so all these options are characteristic of Bowman's discontinuous reaction series, while as far as Bowman's continuous reaction series is concerned, there is elemental substitution in plegioclase feldspar. Next question says 4 axes of 3-fold symmetry characterize. So basically this question is asking about that which crystal system among these trigonal, triclinic, tetragonal and isometric, which crystal system is characterized by 4 axes of 3-fold symmetry. Okay, so let's check one by one. First one is trigonal system. Trigonal system is characterized by 1 axis of 3-fold symmetry. Triclinic system have no axis of symmetry, no plane of symmetry, only center of symmetry is present. Okay, and this is the system with the least number of symmetry elements present. And tetragonal system is characterized by 1 axis of 4-fold. Other than 1 axis of 4-fold, 4 axes of 2-fold symmetry are also present, but tetragonal system is characterized by 1 axis of 4-fold. Okay, and isometric system is characterized by 4 axes of 3-fold. Other than 4 axes of 3-fold, there are 6 axes of 2-fold and 3 axes of 4-fold. So overall 13 axes of symmetry present in isometric crystal system, and it had the maximum number of symmetry, either in case of axis of symmetry or in case of plane of symmetry. Okay, so as far as 4 axis of 3-fold symmetry is concerned, it is characterized by isometric crystal system. Next question says law of rational indices mainly addresses the position of. Okay, so if you know what the law of rational indices says, then we can easily answer this question. Okay, so law of rational indices says that crystal faces make simple rational intercept on crystal axis. Okay, so basically this law is talking about crystal faces. So clearly this law addresses the position of faces. Okay, as far as interfacial angle is concerned, the position of interfacial angle is concerned by, or you can say the law that talks about interfacial angle is law of consistency of interfacial angle, and it is given by Steno. So it is also known as Steno's law, and this law says the angle between equivalent faces on crystal of same mineral are the same. Okay, other than these law, the rule or the relationship of faces, edges and solid angle is governed by a theorem that is known as Euler's theorem, which is like say f plus a is equals to e plus 2, where f is equals to number of faces, a is equals to number of solid angles and e is equals to number of edges. So relationship between these are governed by this Euler's rule. Okay, so as far as law of rational indices is concerned, the correct answer is faces. Next question says crystal system with maximum number of classes is. So to answer this question, we should know that among these crystal system, which one has maximum number of classes or which one has minimum number of classes. So number one is hexagonal crystal system. Hexagonal crystal system is divided into two division, that is hexagonal division and trigonal division. In hexagonal division there are 7 classes out of 32 classes, and in trigonal division there are 5 classes. Okay, so overall in hexagonal system you will get 12 classes. Okay, next one is tetrahedral. Okay, now see, tetrahedral is a form of cubic system. Though tetrahedral is a form of cubic system, still if it is asking for tetragonal crystal system, then tetragonal crystal system have 7 classes. Next, cubic system. Cubic system have 5 classes. Orthorhombic system have 3 classes. Monoclinic crystal system have also 3 classes, and triclinic crystal system have 2 symmetry classes. So there are over 32 symmetry classes present. Okay. So as far as maximum number of classes is concerned, the correct answer is hexagonal crystal system. Next question says, the crystal system in which majority of minerals crystallizes. To answer this question, we should know that common minerals are crystallizes in which crystal system. Okay, or majority of minerals crystallizes in which crystal system. So if we know that how many number of minerals or how many percentage of minerals are crystallized in tetragonal system, cubic system, orthorhombic and monoclinic crystal system, we can easily answer this question. Okay, so for common minerals, approximately 9% of all common minerals crystallizes in tetragonal crystal system. Approximately 8% of all common minerals crystallize in cubic system, and approximately 27% of common minerals crystallize in orthorhombic system, and approximately 30% of all common minerals crystallize in monoclinic system. So among all these, monoclinic system have majority of mineral crystallizing. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is monoclinic crystal system. Talking about other two crystal system, that is hexagonal crystal system and trigonal crystal system, approximately 17% of mineral crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system, and approximately 9% of minerals crystallizes in triclinic crystal system. Okay, so if we arrange crystal system according to majority of minerals, so first one will be monoclinic, followed by orthorhombic, hexagonal, tetragonal, and tetragonal is almost equal to triclinic because 9% minerals crystallize in tetragonal crystal system, and 9% minerals also crystallizes in triclinic crystal system. And in case of cubic system, there are 8% of mineral crystallizes in cubic system. Okay, so as far as majority of crystals crystallizes in monoclinic crystal system. Next question says, an optic axis is a unique direction in a mineral along which the traveling light. Okay, so first you should know what is optic axis. Optic axis is a unique direction along which there is no double diffraction takes place, or that is traveling light will pass through without being split or being polarized. Okay, so now let's check the options. First one is will be most strongly observed. Let's hold this option for a while. Okay, next option says will pass through without being split or polarized. Okay, so in definition itself, it says that it is a unique direction along which there is no double reflection takes place, and because of there is no double reflection takes place, the light ray will neither split nor polarized. Okay, so this statement seems true. Next option is will be split into two rays. This is incorrect statement because along optic axis there is no double reflection, and because of there is no double reflection, there is no splitting of rays and there is no polarization. Okay, so both these options are incorrect. This is the correct option and this is also incorrect. Okay, next question says pleochroism is possible in thin sections of the minerals crystallized in. Okay, so you know pleochroism is the property of anisotropic mineral, and all those minerals that crystallize in hexagonal system, triclinic system, monoclinic system, orthorhombic and tetragonal, these all are anisotropic mineral. So these are the minerals that crystallize in all these crystal system are anisotropic in nature and will show pleochroism. Only those minerals that crystallize in isotropic crystal system are, our isometric crystal system are isotropic in nature and will be non-pleochroic. Okay, So pleochroism is possible in thin section of minerals crystallized in all of the above crystal system. Next question says, which of the following mineral pair is isostructural? So what is meaning of isostructural? Isostructural minerals are those when two dissimilar looking natural chemical compositions found to be structurally identical. Or you can say when two minerals with different atoms show similarity of crystal structure. They are termed as isostructural. And the best example of isostructural is shown by berlinite and quartz. Where berlinite is, berlinite is AlPO4 and quartz is SiO2. These two are totally different, or you can say totally dissimilar looking natural chemical compositions, but their structures are similar. Okay, so these are termed as isostructural. While in case of graphite and diamond, these both composed of carbon, means their chemical composition is same, but their crystal system is different. That is, graphite crystallizes in hexagonal crystal system and diamond crystallizes in cubic system. So these are considered as polymorphs. In case of elbite and anorthite, there is a continuous isomorphous series between elbite and anorthite, and that is governed by atomic substitution. Okay, so these are considered to be isomorph. In case of kyanite and andalusite, these also have Al2SiO5. These are Al2SiO5 polymorph because composition is same in case of kyanite and andalusite, but they crystallize in different crystal system. So these are also considered as polymorphs. So as far as isostructure is concerned, the correct answer is berlinite and quartz. Okay, so next question says, light that travels through an isotropic mineral is always. Okay, so light that travels through an isotropic mineral is always unpolarized. The reason behind this unpolarization is that light velocity is uniform in all direction in case of isotropic mineral, and because light velocity is uniform in all direction, the indicatrix of isotropic mineral is sphere. Okay, while in case of an isotropic mineral, light that travels through an isotropic mineral get doubly reflected, split into two rays, polarized. Okay, so all these three conditions are of anisotropic minerals. So the correct answer of this question is none of the above. Next question says, tetragonal system is characterized by. Previous in question 35, I have told you that tetragonal system is characterized by one axis of fourfold. Okay, and other than one axis of fourfold, there is four axis of twofold is also present. Okay, so yeah, you got your answer. Tetragonal crystal system is characterized by axis of symmetry. Center of symmetry is present almost in every crystal system, and plane of symmetry also, because in case of tetragonal system, there you will get 5 plane of symmetry, out of which one is vertical and 4 are horizontal. Likewise, in case of a hexagonal crystal system, you will get 7 plane of symmetry, in which one is vertical and 6 are horizontal. Okay, so it may be confusing to identify between plane of symmetry between hexagonal tetragonal crystal system, because only there is difference in number. Okay, but in case of axis of symmetry, tetragonal crystal system have one axis of fourfold, and this one axis of fourfold is not present in any other crystal system. Okay, so this one axis of fourfold characterizes tetragonal crystal system. So the correct answer is axis of symmetry. Next question says, the highest degree of symmetry in crystals is shown by minerals of dash, and the lowest degree of symmetry is shown by minerals of dash respectively. So basically you have to tell that which crystal system have highest degree of symmetry and which crystal system have lowest degree of symmetry. So to answer this question, you should know the symmetry elements of all these crystal system: cubic system, triclinic, monoclinic, hexagonal, tetragonal. Okay, so let's check one by one. First one is cubic system. Cubic system have 9 plane of symmetry, 13 axial symmetry, and center of symmetry is also present. In case of tetragonal crystal system, there are 5 plane of symmetry, 5 axial symmetry, and center of symmetry is also present. In case of hexagonal crystal system, there are 7 plane of symmetry, 7 axial symmetry, and center of symmetry is also present. In case of monoclinic crystal system, there is only 1 plane of symmetry, 1 axial symmetry, and 1 center of symmetry is present. While in case of orthorhombic crystal system, you will get 3 plane of symmetry, 3 axial symmetry, and a center of symmetry is also present. While if you see in triclinic crystal system, there is no plane of symmetry, no axis of symmetry, only center of symmetry is present. So overall, if you see in this crystal system, you will get that in cubic system there are highest degree of symmetry present. That is 9 plane of symmetry. 9 plane of symmetry is not present in other cubic system, other system other than cubic. Okay. In case of axis of symmetry, there are 13 axes of symmetry are present in cubic system. Other than cubic system, no crystal system have this much of axis of symmetry, and almost center of symmetry is present in almost every crystal system. So this is not the case. So cubic system has the highest number of symmetry element present, while in case of triclinic system there are no plane of symmetry, no axis of symmetry, only center of symmetry is present. So it have lowest degree of symmetry present. So the correct answer of this question will be cubic and triclinic crystal system. Okay, next question says minerals in which of the following crystallography classes are uniaxial. So uniaxial means only one optic axis, and minerals of tetragonal and hexagonal crystal system are uniaxial, while minerals of monoclinic, triclinic and orthorhombic crystal system are biaxial in nature. So the correct answer of this question is tetragonal. If this question were asking about biaxial, so the answer would be monoclinic, triclinic and orthorhombic. Okay, so as far as this question is concerned, the correct answer is tetragonal. Okay, so next question says the amount of bending light undergoes when passing through a mineral depends upon. Okay, so bending of light, this phenomenon is known as refraction. Okay, and this occur when beam of light passes from one medium to another with a different refractive indices. So the bending of light depends upon refractive index of gem or mineral. Okay, and the amount of bending of light depends upon the angle of incidence, that is the angle at which enters, and it also depends upon the wavelength of light that is passing through that mineral. Okay, so clearly all these three options are correct. So the correct answer is all of the above. Next question says it most often forms from high pressure alteration of clay minerals during the metamorphism of sedimentary rock. So basically this is talking about a mineral that is present in metamorphic rock. Okay, or you can say that is formed by metamorphism. Next condition is the long crystals have a Mohs hardness of about 4.5 to 5 if tested parallel to the length of crystal. Okay, so if you test a mineral parallel to the length of crystal, this mineral is talking in this question, then the hardness of that is 4.5 to 5. Okay, and hardness of 6.5 to 7 if tested across the length of crystal. So basically this mineral that this question is talking about, it shows double hardness. Okay, that is 4.5 to 5 if tested parallel and 6.5 to 7 if tested across the length. So clearly it is well known that the mineral which shows double hardness is kyanite. Let's check the options. Okay, first one is titanite. Titanite is also known as sphene, and composition of titanite is CaTiSiO5. Okay, and titanite shows only one hardness, and that varies between 5 to 5.5. Okay, it doesn't mean that it shows double hardness. The hardness of titanite varies between this. Okay, kyanite as usual shows double hardness. So the question is asking about kyanite. Okay, because in question it is mentioned that the mineral that shows 4.5 if tested parallel to the length of crystal and shows hardness of 6.5 to 7 if tested across the length of crystal. So the correct answer of this question is kyanite. Next one is staurolite. Staurolite shows hardness between 7 to 7.5. It's a single hardness. Okay, and it varies between 7 and 7.5. Next one is magnetite. Magnetite is Fe3O4 iron ore, and its hardness is 6. So clearly all these three are incorrect. Only the correct answer is kyanite. Next question says troctolite has the following mineralogy. Okay, so if you know the composition of troctolite is a igneous rock. So if you know the composition of troctolite, you can easily answer this question. So first one is plagioclase plus pyroxene. So plagioclase plus pyroxene characterizes either norite or gabbro. Norite in case of orthopyroxene and gabbro in case of clinopyroxene. Like if composition is plagioclase plus orthopyroxene, then it will be norite, and if composition is plagioclase plus cyanopyroxene, then it will be gapro. Okay, so clearly this is not the composition of proctolite. Next one is olivine plus pyroxene. Olivine plus pyroxene characterizes pyrrhotite. Okay, the composition of pyrrhotite is olivine plus pyroxene, and pyroxene include both clinopyroxene and orthopyroxene. Okay, and olivine plus plagioclase, this is characterized by rock troctolite. Okay, and let's check other option also. Plagioclase plus amphibole. There are variety of rock present that have amphibole present along with plagioclase, but I have get one, that is camptonite. Okay, camptonite is a rock in which amphibole and plagioclase are present. As far as the troctolite is concerned, its chemical composition is olivine plus plagioclase. Next question says, the process where crystallizing mineral remain in contact with the melt throughout crystallization process. Okay, so this is talking about a crystallization process. Let's check the options. First one is fractional crystallization. Okay, this is a crystallization process. Second one is fractional melting. This is not a crystallization process, and since it is not a crystallization process, it is out of the context. So let's eliminate this. Next one is assimilation. Assimilation is also not a crystallization process. It is a process involving magma diversity. Okay, we will talk about it later. So it is also out of context. So next one is equilibrium crystallization. Okay, so now let's talk about fractional crystallization and equilibrium crystallization one by one. Fractional crystallization means crystal fractionation from melt as soon as it forms. Okay, in fractional crystallization, in which crystals somehow become separated from the system so that they will not react with the melt. And the question is saying that the process where crystallizing mineral remain in contact with the melt. But in case of fractional crystallization, crystal just separated from the melt. Okay, so this is not the correct answer. In case of fractional melting is the just opposite process of fractional crystallization, in the sense that in fractional melting, as melting proceed, there is continuous extraction of melt increment as soon as melt form. So this is not the correct answer, and also it is a melting process, and question is asking about crystallization process. So definitely it is not the correct answer. Assimilation, I told you assimilation is a process involved in magma diversity in which there is digestion of fragments of country rock by magma. Like say, as the magma evolved from the magma chamber, it assimilate and embrace the chemical constituent from the balls of country rock, and that process is known as assimilation. Okay, so this is not the process of crystallization. So it is also not the correct answer. In case of equilibrium crystallization, all solids that is crystallizing mineral remain in contact with the melt until reaction run to completion. Okay, and this is all. This is the term that question is asking about. The process where crystallizing mineral remain in contact with the melt throughout crystallization process is known as equilibrium crystallization. Next question says, lithium bearing mica group mineral. So first condition is lithium bearing, and second condition is mica group mineral that is associated with pegmatite. Okay, so we have to tell that which of the following are lithium bearing. First one, second one mica group, and the third condition the associated with pegmatite. Okay, so first one is amblygonite, and composition of amblygonite is lithium sodium AlPO4 FOH. Okay, so clearly it is lithium bearing. Okay, but it is not mica group mineral because it is a 4-phosphate mineral, so it is out of the context. But yeah, it is present in pegmatite, or you can say it is associated with pegmatite, but the condition is this is not a mica group mineral, so it is incorrect statement. Petalite composition of petalite is LiAlSi4O10. Okay, and by seeing Si4O10, you can say that it's a Si or ratio is 2:5. Okay, and 2:5 ratio is of phyllosilicate. Okay, so though petalite is a phyllosilicate mineral, but it is not a mica group mineral, but yeah, it is associated with pegmatite, but still because it's not a mica group mineral, so it's incorrect answer, or you can say it's incorrect option. Next option says lepidolite. Composition of lepidolite is KLiAl whole twice 2 to 3. Okay, AlSi3O10 OH whole twice. And yeah, lepidolite is a lithium bearing mica, and it is also associated with pegmatite. So the correct answer of this question is lepidolite. In case of spodumene, composition is LiAlSi2O6, and clearly it's a pyroxene. Okay, and it's a single chain silicate as the ratio is 1:3. Now next question says the proportion of crystal and melt at any given pressure temperature condition in an igneous system can be known from. Okay, so first one is Walker's rule. Walker's rule is used to measure the specific gravity of compound, okay, by taking different reading, okay, and the instrument used in this process is known as Walker's steel yard. Second one is Goldsmith rule. Goldsmith rule is a mineralogical phase rule, and it is used for useful in metamorphic rock, and it says F degree of freedom is equal to C minus P plus 2. Okay, and it should be greater or equal than 2. This degree of freedom should be greater or equal than 2. Okay, so this is Goldsmith phase rule. It is used in metamorphic rock, and the question is asking about igneous system, the rule which operate in igneous system. Next one is lever rule. Lever rule is the a rule which this question is asking about. With the help of lever rule, you can whoever wants can you can find the proportion of crystal and melt at any given pressure temperature condition in an igneous system. Okay, so this is the rule which the question is asking about. Pauling's rule, this is a series of 5 empirical rules which describe common structural and bonding features of finite structure, and it is used in mineralogy. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is lever rule. Now next question says, according to Goldsmith's mineralogical phase rule. In previous question I told you that Goldsmith rule is a mineralogical phase rule. Okay, for a typical metamorphic rock, okay, for a typical, this is also told about in a previous question. The number of phases and number of components are equal. Okay, why should this be true? So if say Goldsmith phase rule is F is equals to C minus P plus 2, and it is a simplified phase rule, that is updated version of Gibbs phase rule. Gibbs phase rule is F is equals to C minus P plus 2. Now Goldsmith restrict this phase rule that F should be greater than or equals to 2. Okay, now there is condition that in this question the number of phases and number of components are equal. So if number of phases and number of components are equal, then degree of freedom will be 0. This will be 0, 2. So F is equals to 2. Now F equals to 2 characterizes divariant situation. You can say in equilibrium mineral assemblage within the metamorphic zone. Okay, and the metamorphic rock represents equilibrium mineral assemblage within metamorphic zone. So let's take the options. First one is components are highly mobile. Second one is solid solution of mineral is typically involved. So in both these cases, these are possible only when number of components is greater than number of phases. And in this question, it is saying that number of phases is equal to number of component. So these two are incorrect. These two statements are possible only when number of components is greater than number of phases. Okay, equilibrium was not attained. This condition is only possible when number of components is less than number of phases. Okay, now only one option remain, that because a typical metamorphic rock occurs in divariant situation, and as I told you, if number of component is equal to number of phases, degree of freedom equals to 2, and this indicate divariant situation. So the correct answer is 4. Next question says, which of the following rock is relatively enriched in Fe, Mg, Cr, cobalt, nickel content? Okay, so we have to tell that among these basalt, dunite, garnet, peridotite and gabbro, which of the following rock have maximum amount, or you can say relatively more amount, or you can say relatively in these elements? Okay, so first let's before answering this question, first let's know some fact. Okay, these nickel and cobalt are concentrated in olivine. Okay, so the rock that have comparatively more olivine than others, that will for sure relatively in nickel and cobalt. Okay, and as far as these iron and magnesium are concerned, these are present in ferromagnesium. These are ferromagnesium mineral, and those rock that contain ferromagnesium mineral will have these amount, and the rock that contain maximum number of ferromagnesium mineral, that will have more amount of Fe and Mg. Okay, and in case of chromium is in this clinopyroxene and spinel. Okay, so let's check the options, or you can say let's check the composition of these rocks. So first one is basalt. It's a volcanic rock, and it is a basic volcanic rock, and it is composed of predominantly composed of calcic sodic plagioclase and clinopyroxene. You can say there are a slightly amount of little amount of olivine also present, but because let's take other options also. Dunite is a monomineralic ultramafic rock, and it is composed of olivine, and the percentage is greater than 90%. Okay, and since olivine have forestite phyllite, that is it is a ferromagnesian mineral, so FeMg are also present in olivine. And I have told you that nickel and cobalt are also concentrated in olivine. So the amount of these, that Fe, Mg and cobalt and nickel will be greater in dunite, because dunite have greater than 90% of olivine present, while in case of basalt there is little amount of olivine present. In case of garnet pedotite, olivine is present, but other than olivine, orthopyroxene, clinopyroxene and garnet are also present, in which say like olivine is, if olivine is present 50%, 50% there is olivine, then OPX and CPX will be 20% or 25% present. Okay, and garnet may be 5 to 10% or something like that. Okay, so but in case of dunite and garnet pedotite, dunite have greater percentage of olivine present. So if had greater number of olivine present, then it will have greater amount of iron, magnesium, nickel and cobalt. And dunite is also host rock for chromite deposit. Okay, and let's talk about gabbro also. Gabbro is a plutonic equivalent of basalt, and its composition is similar as basalt, because gabbro also have calcic sodic plagioclase and clinopyroxene. Okay, so these two will not relatively in this in these elements, but in case of dunite and garnet pedotite, these elements are enriched in dunite more, okay, than garnet pedotite. So the correct answer of this question is dunite. Next question says the predominant feldspar in massive type anorthosite is. Okay, so Proterozoic anorthosites are known as massive type anorthosite, and in these anorthosite, plagioclase is intermediate in composition, and that is anorthite 40 to 60, and this composition is represented by plagioclase known as labradorite. Okay, so in a massive type anorthosite, the plagioclase that is present is labradorite. Okay, or you can say if say in case of an orthosite, an orthosite derive its name from French word in orthos meaning plagioclase. So basically in orthosite, plagioclase is present, you can say predominantly present, or you can say an orthosite is a monomineralic rock, but it's a basic in nature, and it composed more than 90% of plagioclase, and the plagioclase is basically bitumenite to labradorite in composition. Okay, so as far as massive type anorthosite is concerned, the composition of plagioclase is labradorite. So first option is orthoclase. Orthoclase is K feldspar. This is definitely absent in anorthosite. Okay, labradorite. Yeah, this is the correct option. Albite. Albite is, though albite is a plagioclase, but the composition of albite is anorthite 0 to 10. Okay, and in case of massive anorthosite, the plagioclase composition of plagioclase is anorthite 40 to 60. So this is also incorrect statement. Microcline is also K feldspar. This is definitely incorrect statement. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is labradorite. Now, tie lines in a chemographic triangular diagram join minerals that. So first of all, what is tie line in a chemographic triangular diagram? Tie line is a line on a metamorphic compositional assemblage diagram, that is ACF or AKF diagram, which joins the composition of minerals that are coexisting in equilibrium. Okay, so as far as these options are concerned, first one is truly correct because of definition itself. And since if these tie line join minerals that are coexisting in equilibrium, these minerals can be present in a definite metamorphic rock and can coexist in thin section of that metamorphic rock. So okay, so these minerals can coexist in thin sections that are joined by tie lines. Okay, so this is also correct statement. And these minerals, like say this is tie line, this is mineral A, this is mineral B, this is C, and the line that joining these A and B is known as tie line. Okay, so these may have a sharp contact with each other. So the correct answer of this question is all of three. Next question says, which one of the following is not a pedotite? To answer this question, you should know that which of the following is pedotite, or you can say which of the following belongs to rock or mineral. So first one is wollastonite. Wollastonite, you clearly you know that wollastonite is a pyroxenite mineral. Composition of wollastonite is CaSiO3. Okay. So wollastonite is a mineral, it is not a rock, and pedotite is a ultramafic rock composing olivine and orthopyroxene and clinopyroxene. Now vahelite is a pedotite in which clinopyroxene is greater than orthopyroxene. Hertzbergite is also pedotite in which orthopyroxene is greater than clinopyroxene, while websterite is also pedotite in which clinopyroxene is almost equal to orthopyroxene. Olivine is present in all these. Okay, so these three are a pedotite, but this is mineral. Next question says, which of the following rock does not belong to monomineralic ultramafic igneous rock? So monomineralic means the rock that composed predominantly of only one mineral. Okay, so first option says pyroxenite, as name suggests that this is composed predominantly of pyroxene, and since pyroxene belongs to pyroxene is ferromagnesian mineral, and pyroxenite is composed greater than 90% pyroxenes. Okay, so it is a ultramafic rock and monomineralic also. While anorthosite composed predominantly of plagio-clay feldspar, and composition of plagio-clay feldspar is calcium rich. Okay, and if it is calcium rich, then it is considered as basic. It is not ultramafic, it is basic in nature. So this is monomineralic rock, but this is basic in nature. Okay, so this is the correct statement, or you can say correct answer as far as this question is concerned. Next is hornblendite. Hornblendite is also ultramafic rock, predominantly composed greater than 90% of hornblende, and dunite is also an ultramafic rock, predominantly contain greater than 90% of olivine. Okay, so next question says, plutonic equivalent of dacite is. To answer this question, you should know that you can say that these rock have which volcanic equivalent, or you can say volcanic equivalent of all these rock, because these granite, dunite, diorite and granodiorite, these all belongs to plutonic igneous rock. Okay, so now granite, volcanic equivalent of granite is rhyolite, or you can say granite is plutonic equivalent of rhyolite. Dunite doesn't have a volcanic equivalent, or if you know about this, please comment down below. Diorite, volcanic equivalent of diorite is andesite, or you can say plutonic equivalent of andesite is diorite. And granodiorite, volcanic equivalent of granodiorite is dacite, or you can say plutonic equivalent of dacite is granodiorite. So the correct answer of this question is granodiorite. Next question says, the process wherein wall rocks are fractured and flounder into the magma is. Okay, so first one is stopping. Stopping is the process in which percolating magma detaches blocks of country rock which sink, allowing magma to move upwards. Or you can say this is the process wherein wall rocks are fractured and flounder into the magma. So the definition of you can say this term is this. The stopping is the process that is asking the question. Zoning is a texture, okay, and it occurs when a mineral changes composition as it grows during cooling from core to rim. Deuteric is a type of alteration. It is a autometamorphism process, okay, which involves hydration. And exsolution is a texture in which that is chemical mixing on solid solution. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is stopping. Next question says, herringbone cross bedding forms in. So herringbone cross bedding is bimodal bipolar cross stratification in which two sets dip in exactly opposite direction. Okay, like say first set is this, second set is this. First set is dips in this direction, so second set will be dip in this direction. Okay, so this is herringbone cross stratification. This is bipolar in nature, and because of bipolar in this is formed by two directional flow of current, and these are characterized by tidal current, and tidal current are present in sea. Okay, so the correct answer of this question is C. These all are incorrect statement. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Please share among your friends. Thank you. Let's meet in the next video.